Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for Trojan Family Weekend 2020. My name is Andrew McConnell-Stott, and I'm the USC Dornsife Dean of Undergraduate Education and Academic Affairs, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this session, JEP Open House, Service Learning and Community Engagement in a Virtual World. For those of you who are not familiar with the Joint Educational Project, I want to share a brief overview. Established in 1972, the USC Joint Educational Project, also known as JEP, is one of the oldest and largest service learning programs in the United States. Each year, over 2,000 USC students enroll in JEP's service learning, work study, and volunteer programs. JEP offers a wide range of service and service learning opportunities in nearby schools, community-based organizations, healthcare facilities, and legal clinics. And all of JEP's programs combine hands-on experience with reflective practice, enabling students to learn firsthand about critical issues facing the communities that surround us at USC. So in today's session, we'll explore some of the incredible work that this team has been doing in service and experiential learning in the virtual world during lockdown. And so now it's my great pleasure to hand it over to the JEP Executive Director, Susan Harris. Susan.
Thanks so much, Andy, and welcome to all the parents. We're excited to have the opportunity to speak with all of you today. Whether it's morning or night, whatever time it may be where you are, we're really excited to have you here. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. Hope everyone can see that screen. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the programs we run, but then more importantly, we'll be turning it over to other JEP staff, and then especially our student leaders who can really tell you a lot more about their experiences in the program. Just a quick overview of what we'll do. I, again, will provide a brief overview, and then two other JEP full-time staff, DJ Cast and Tina Konechny, will be talking in more depth about some of the programs we run, which hire students to do community engagement work. And then we'll hear from our student leaders, and we'll save some time at the end for some questions. So the Joint Educational Project is really a combination of a lot of different individual programs. Some of them are large, some of them are small. Some have been in existence since our founding in 1972. So we are actually looking forward to celebrating our golden anniversary here in a couple of years. And some are more recent, created in response to needs from the community or requests from faculty or desires of students to have a particular kind of experience. But when most people talk about doing JEP, they're usually talking about our service learning program. So this is our oldest and largest program that we run. And as a service learning program, it is one that combines academic coursework with community service in such a way that each really supports the other. We have approximately 150 courses that partner with JEP every semester, and faculty give students credit for participating in service assignments either at schools or at nonprofit organizations. We work with approximately 14 or 15 schools every semester, and then upwards of 50 or 60 nonprofits. And we usually have about 1,000 students enroll in the program every semester. The majority of the students are placed in local K-12 schools right around campus, and those students either work as a mentor or a tutor or a teaching assistant in a classroom, or sometimes they're paired in teams, and they teach things that they're learning about in their coursework at USC. The students who are assigned to nonprofit agencies, those students tend to do assignments that might be a little bit more connected to the coursework. For example, maybe a course on developmental psychology. We might place students at a preschool where the students are helping the teachers in the classroom with preschool-aged children while learning about child development in their coursework. So in addition to the service learning program we offer, which is tied to academic courses, we have several volunteer programs that are pre-professional in nature. They're not typically connected to academic credit in any way, but they provide opportunities for students who are on a particular academic path to gain experience in their desired career path. So for example, we have the Trojan Health Volunteers program. This is a program that was actually created by a student back in the 1980s. He created a program to get students involved in hospitals and clinics, working out of his dorm room. And then when he graduated, he came to JEP and asked if we might pick up and carry on that tradition. And so we have been since then. So this is a student-run program. We have 2 super dynamic student leaders who run this program and serve as liaisons to all of the hospitals and clinics we work with. And the Trojan Health volunteers who participate in the program get a lot of amazing experience as pre-med or pre-health students, whether it's shadowing physicians or nurses or delivering meals and visiting with patients, and just really learning a little bit about what it's like to work in the healthcare field. We also have a program called Pre-Law Project. This is another program that was started by a student. We had someone who was an undergraduate at USC, participated in JEP, ended up working for JEP, and became our main student leader in the program. And then she went to USC Law School. And her experience there really pointed out to her a gap in experiences that pre-law students have, not really being able to get the kinds of pre-professional experience that she thought would be helpful to her as a law student. So she established some partnerships with some legal aid clinics in Los Angeles, and that program has now been going for almost 10 years. And the students in Pre-Law Project work with attorneys at these pro bono legal clinics. They might be working with issues related to immigration or housing, environmental law, family law. They might be doing research on the issues that attorneys are working with clients to address. So it's a really awesome experience for undergraduates in particular at sites that often are more interested in having actual law students participate. So this is a great benefit of our program. We really could not do what we do without the students who work for our program, and I'm excited for you all to hear from some of them in just a few minutes. But we rely on a peer educator model. So we have students who participate in our programs as volunteers who then come and work for us and help train students. They work with faculty to determine the best connections and service learning assignments for their courses. They lead group discussions, they read students' essays, they train other students. They really are the heart and soul of our organization, and we have some of the best students on campus, and they tell us that we have one of the best jobs on campus. Just a real quick note about what we've been doing since the pandemic began. Of course, in March, when everything shut down, whether it was USC telling students that we were moving to remote learning, or the Los Angeles Unified School District essentially doing the same thing, we did stop all of our service learning programming, but we fairly quickly launched a virtual tutoring program. And we did this in part to keep some of our student employees gainfully and meaningfully employed throughout the spring semester. It also, though, gave us an opportunity to test some of the benefits and challenges of moving our programs online. So we continued that pilot throughout the summer and worked to support kids who were enrolled in summer school, either through the schools that we work with typically, but we also partnered with a program at Keck Hospital to support the children of frontline COVID caregivers. So that was a really meaningful and helpful experience for us, and we have continued in this fall semester to provide some online tutoring, and also shifted a few other things. For example, our mini course model, the team teaching model that I mentioned before, rather than placing students in classrooms to be doing that, we're having students record videos of lessons that teachers can then download, use in their courses if they wish, assign to students to watch after school as a homework assignment or however they see fit. And I think Tina and DJ might talk a little bit more about this, as well as our students from their own experiences doing this kind of work. So I think with that, I'm going to pass the baton to Tina Konechny, who will talk a little bit more about some of our work study programs, as well as a very unique yoga-centered program that she directs.
Great. Thank you, Susan. And thank you all for joining us today to hear about the many programs JAP offers to our USC students. So I'm Associate Director at JAP, so I help manage the administration and educational outreach. And there are two programs in particular that I oversee. One of them is called USC Readers Plus. It has been around since 1997. It was actually born from President Clinton's America Reads, America Counts initiative, which had the dual objectives of providing meaningful work to university students through their work study award, realizing that students, in high school, they're doing community service, all this wonderful volunteer work, but upon entering university, they need jobs to pay for the high cost of higher ed. So most of our students are paid through their federal work study award. And the other objective of America Reads, America Counts is obviously meeting the educational needs of urban community schools. So, so we hire literacy and math tutors, and they are paid to work between, depending on the year, 8 to 12 hours a week. Just like Susan said, all of our GP programs have a peer leader element. So we have coordinators that manage each of our 7 schools. So each of our 7 schools has typically in a typical year, has around 15 students. This year, because of the situation, we did not hire new tutors, but we have a wonderful retention rate. We have students who are committed and dedicated to our community. So we had close to 60 tutors come back from previous semesters wanting to rejoin and wanting to continue their meaningful work. So during school day, tutors work with children one-on-one, helping them with reading and math. We also offer after-school programming, and one element of the after-school program is a program that I developed called Little Yoginis. So this program integrates children's literature. We try to select books that have a yogic focus, so it might be loving kindness, respect, nonviolence. So we begin each session reading this piece of literature and creating this theme around the book. We do some meditation and breath work to kind of calm the students' minds and bodies. And then we integrate some yoga poses so they can kind of be playful with their bodies and get a little bit of movement. And then they always end the session in Shavasana, in a final resting pose, which is the hardest pose for adults, but for a 5-year-old, it's even more difficult. So that program is really designed to help calm the students, help bring a nice sense of ease at the end of the day, at the end of a long day. Currently, both programs are still in operation. We are still doing the tutoring sessions. We are doing all after school, so we're connecting more with parents. Teachers have been recommending which children from their classrooms really require the help. We work with students who are just below basic. So we really do rely on our teachers to help us identify the correct students. And so our tutors are working after school with students one-on-one in Zoom rooms. Parents are there. We're recording them for accountability. And we have our coordinators who are still in charge of each site, and they're checking in and popping in on sessions. For Little Yoginis, we're doing a combination of things. We have 4 classroom teachers who requested to have live sessions. So we have teams of 2 USC yogis who are going into classrooms and teaching shortened versions of the 1-hour session. So they're doing half-an-hour sessions during the school day. And then after school, we are working with small groups of children, and we have 6 different sessions offered to students. This is our 2nd week. So last week it was groups of, as little as 2 as they were figuring out the Zoom room. But this week, our numbers are going up for the number of students that are joining us. So that's a little bit about both of those programs, but I know Tanaya and Christine. Tanaya is a USC Reader. She's also one of our assistant coordinators helping to manage the program. And then Christine does both. She's a USC Reader and also a trained USC Yogi. So I think you'll be delighted to hear their experiences with our 2 programs.
Thank you so much, Tina. DJ, you want to talk about your programs, the STEM outreach programs?
Sure. Could we advance the slide?
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So my name is DJ Cass, and I run the STEM education programs for JEP. There are 3 of them at the moment, and all of them revolve around undergraduate students teaching science to students, either during the school day in partnership with teachers or in an after-school setting. Which our after school setting one, that's Wonder Kids, and that one is we focus on different STEM careers, and we bring in scientists that are in those fields to come in and talk to students. All of our programs are really hands-on. I have an amazing staff of undergraduate and graduate students that are all STEM majors. They're trained how to teach science, and then we have partnership with about 80 elementary classroom teachers where we provide a free STEM program for them. So all of the lesson plans are provided, all of the materials are provided. We send in the USC students as our resident science experts to go in and teach, and then we also evaluate how they're doing. We definitely had to pivot a lot for in regards to COVID because we are a very hands-on experimental-based program. And so some of the ways we pivoted is we are doing live Zoom sessions for all of our programs. And so we are in LAUSD Zoom rooms on a daily basis. We also put together over like 2,000 STEM kits that we worked with the schools and got distributed to families to their homes, so that they were still able to, we didn't want it to just be like the USC student doing a demo all of the time. And we also created much more at-home friendly materials as well. So the kits were small, but all of the lessons the students are able to do remotely and from their own homes as well. There's 3 programs involved there. There's the Young Scientist program that's been around for about 14 years, and that's 2nd through 5th grade. There's Wonder Kids, which is the after-school STEM career program, and it's been around for 6 years. And then with a partnership with the School of Medicine, the Keck School of Medicine, and the Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center, we've also created the medical STEM program, which teaches a lot of medical and cancer-based concepts to 2nd graders. And that is who we have Eduardo Lopez, and he is teaching for that program. So he'll also chat a little bit about that later. That's it.
Thank you so much, DJ. So now we're going to turn to our student leaders who can each talk a little bit about some of their experiences as participants and as student workers in the programs. And I'd ask each of you to just introduce yourself briefly and let the audience know your major and exactly what your role is at JEP. And we're going to start with Alyssa Zabin. I'm also going to stop sharing this so we can all see our students.
Hi, thank you so much, Susan. My name is Alyssa Zabin. I'm a senior undergraduate student at USC. My major is political economy, and I also have a minor in the School of Business called social entrepreneurship. So I love working with JEP. I've been working as a program assistant since my sophomore year. So this is my 3rd year. Obviously, the retention rate, as Tina mentioned, is very good. We all love working at JEP. But I work with the mentor tutor programs that Susan described at the beginning. And in my semesters that I've worked at JEP, I've also been the program assistant for the pre-law project in our community-based organizations project, which works with local homelessness initiatives, as well as other forms of tutoring and mentorship for kids. So yeah, I love working at JEP. Please let me know if there's anything else I can describe.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. Now we'll turn to Christine Nguyen.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Susan. My name is Christine Nguyen. I'm a sophomore undergrad student at USC. I'm majoring in biochemistry with a minor in Spanish, and I'm here as a USC Readers as well as a USC Yogi, like Tina mentioned. And a little bit of what I do here, it's just a lot of tutoring as part of Readers Plus, and a lot of it I would say is a big transition. We are definitely designing a new curriculum with the new challenges that this pandemic gave us. And as part of USC Yogis, we also got started pretty recently last week. And a lot of this is definitely new and in a different way that is, I'd say, better in some ways, because we've definitely improved our curriculum more to really accommodate what's been happening and all of that. And I think especially with this pandemic, parents are finding more ways to involve their kids, and Little Yoginis is definitely a great way for them to get active, be creative, and just have a little bit more fun and have a little bit more physical activity outside of the computer with Zoom and all of that. Yeah. And just a quick question, are we sharing our 5-minute blurb during this time, or is it just a quick intro first?
Sure, we can dive right into that if you'd like. And Alyssa, if you have more to add in a minute, that's fine too.
Okay, yeah, I just wasn't sure, but yeah, like I said, the reason why I joined USC Yogis after being a USC Readers was because of how much I saw the impact that USC Yogis had on the kids. So as a tutor, I helped with organizing that kind of thing during after school program, but I wasn't directly involved with it. But after I saw how relaxed, carefree, excited the students were doing all the tree poses and savasanas, it definitely made me want to be a part of it more. And even though my experience with yoga wasn't very great, I thought that the curriculum and all of the lessons behind it allowed me to definitely improve with myself. And I've seen the way that this pandemic has shaped our lessons now, helped me be able to lead more sessions and be more involved with the students now. So now I'm able to do 6 sessions a week, which is a lot more than I did before. And we've had the opportunity to work with students of all ages, from as young as 4 years old to 9 years old. And they all enjoy it, and I can see it with the smile on their faces that they bring every time, even if it's all remote. And the reason why I've continued with this was because of the energy that I saw with the students. Every time they would ask me, Miss Christine, is it time for yoga again? Or they would want to share the new poses that they've learned. And I've seen how much that they've grown on their own. And I've also seen the skills that I've also developed, my leadership skills, my creativity, my confidence. And I've seen the effect that our yoga lessons have had on the kids too. And I definitely say that it's a perfect way to end the day for both me and the kids. And of course, this wouldn't be all possible without the Good Neighbors campaign. I definitely think that it aligns with our mission. And we're all here to bridge the gap of educational opportunities and provide as many resources we can to help these brilliant minds, including creative outlets like yoga. It's definitely something so crucial, especially now.
That's great, Christine. Thank you so much. Eduardo, can we move to you?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Susan, for the introduction. My name is Eduardo. I am currently a sophomore here at USC. I'm majoring in human biology on a pre-med track. And I'm part of the medical STEM program under DJ's supervision. So what I do, I teach second graders a medical-based curriculum, more towards cancer curriculum. So I used to be able to, back when I joined as a freshman, I was able to personally go to classrooms and bring in a lot of activities that they were able to work on, such as, we brought in cameras and webcams, and they were able to simulate kind of a endoscopy. So they were able to work with that, and it was really awesome having students, interact with that on their own and watching them. I guess, yeah, so I guess one fun fact, I haven't met anyone else who's been through JEP, as when they were a kid. So when I was a kid, I went to Williams Elementary School, which is down the street from USC. And yeah, so I wasn't actually in JEP as a little kid, and then it's really fascinating to like look back and see that JEP, like I didn't know I was going to go to USC in the future, but you know, JEP was there and they were able to like, I actually able to give back to JEP and, you know, work with JEP. It might not be the same program that I was part of as a second grader or when I was at Weems, but yeah, and I was also part of this other program called the Neighborhood Academic Initiative, which is also in partnership with USC, and they provide tutoring services and extra educational support for their students. And I also work with them, so it's really nice seeing that me, someone from South Central, is actually able to give back to the community, give back to the students, and it's really awesome working with the programs that I've personally been through. And I'm really thankful for JEP for offering this support or this position for me to, you know, give back to the community. And I'm really thankful for DJ because she offers like one of like the best curriculums that I've had to work with. And I feel like the students really, they grasp and they're able to understand and apply what they're learning to their everyday lives, you know, and also get influenced into joining STEM careers and, you know, get that interest, because I know from personal experience, when I was in elementary school, LAUSD didn't offer the best, or they didn't offer 100%. And, you know, JEP, and additionally, like me being able to go back to LAUSD, I'm offering these students, you know, I'm like showing them that me, a person of color, is actually in STEM right now, currently in STEM. And you know, it's also showing them that they can pursue that same career, that they can pursue STEM, and that they can be at a private institution or at an institution that is renowned for its STEM curriculum. And, you know, it's really awesome knowing that students have someone to look up to. So I'm really thankful for JEP and all the programs that they run. Yeah, that concludes what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eduardo. And finally, Tanaya.
Hello, my name is Tanaya, and I am a math and reading tutor at the Readers Plus program. I'm a assistant coordinator at one of the sites, the Vermont site, and I am a sophomore studying creative writing. I joined the Readers Plus program right when I came to USC from my first semester, and it's been a really great experience just getting to work with all the students, getting to know them, and it really pushes my boundaries. Just being able to interact with students helps bring out the inner child in me as well. Like I had this one student who he loved zombies and Bigfoot and all these things that I never thought I'd really have conversations about, but I ended up writing stories for him about these interesting different topics. So it's not only helped me expand as a person, but also like made me a little more empathetic, just being aware of the neighborhood that we live in and the resources that these schools have, and being able to contribute to that. It's a really great feeling. The transition has been a little different from moving from on-site. Normally we used to work during school hours, but right now it's more of like an after-school setting. But I feel like JEP has provided us with a lot of resources to be able to cope with these times. Even though it's online, I still feel like we're able to have the impact on the student, even though there's some distance, of course, that's bound to happen. And I do miss being on site. I mean, who doesn't miss the pre-Zoom days? But it's a great opportunity. I would really recommend it to anybody, especially Readers Plus, because it's a work study program as well. So you get to like do all this great work, and you also get paid for it, which is really great as a college student. And thank you. Yeah, that's about it.
Great. Thank you so much, Tanaya. Some of you all talked about this a little bit, but I'm wondering, particularly those of you who supervise other students, if you could talk a little bit about that experience. And, you know, Tanaya, you have spoken a little bit about how things have changed in the pandemic, but maybe you could share a little bit more about that too. Alyssa, do you want to maybe address that first? Thank you.
Sure. So as a program assistant, I do a lot of the things that Susan described, such as like recruiting and helping USC students sign up to participate in our programs. And once they're part of our programs, I, help facilitate their assignment, which is what we call it, their tutoring, and make it easier for them. I also read and give feedback on their reflective essays, which is a really huge component of what JEP does. I think that differentiates us from other volunteer programs is that we do incorporate that reflective component, which is really important to me. I love reading what my students that I supervise have to say about their assignments because I don't always participate in JEP at the same time that I work here. So I do miss being in the classroom or working directly with the kids. So I love reading what my students have to say about that. And I also think that one of the most important things about JEP is that we do get USC students sort of outside the little bubble of campus, as we call it, and involved in the community. And I think even more so than whatever content they're teaching or whatever credit they're getting for their classes, the more important aspect is that they're creating relationships and like building that bridge between USC and the neighborhoods around us. Because so many USC students like never have an opportunity to like go out and make friends in the community who don't go to USC. So that's probably my favorite part about working with other USC students through JEP is that like I get to see them like sort of create that same relationship and bridge that I built when I started participating in JEP as a freshman. And also I like to say that I sort of come full circle because I started participating in JEP my first semester freshman year through my History 100 class, which is a class that a lot of freshmen take as sort of a general education requirement. And now I'm the program assistant for that course again. So, and it's the same professor. So I can tell my students like, hey, I did the same assignment when I was in your position as a freshman. I know exactly what you're going through. Although it is different being online, but I can let someone else address that.
Thank you so much. Anybody else have anything to add about that particular point?
Sure, I guess I could add a little bit more about what it's like working with the tutors, so the USC students. So the way the Readers Plus program works is there's a lot of different sites. So I think Eduardo mentioned that he used to go to Weems School, and then I teach at Vermont. So there's like a bunch of elementary schools, and there's a coordinator, an assistant coordinator, and a lot of tutors who teach at each school. So we have like a central staff meeting where all the coordinators meet together so that everyone's on the same page. And then we also have weekly meetings with our site staff. So that way everyone's on the same page and everything's really well coordinated. And I work with the coordinator of my site to make sure that all the tutors feel supported and able to tutor.
That's great. I think you can tell from the stories that these students have shared just what a level of responsibility these jobs bring with it. Not only the responsibility to the children that they're serving, but to their peers, and working with faculty and staff, both on campus and off campus. It really is a remarkable experience, I think, for the students, and we are really quite fortunate to have the amazing students who come to JEP and give so much of their time and heart and energy to our programs. I also just wanted to make one note about something that Eduardo said. We do have a lot of partnerships with other programs on campus. The Good Neighbors campaign funds several of our programs fairly substantially. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with that, it's a program where faculty and staff donate funds, part of their salary, to support campus community partnerships. DJ's STEM Outreach Program, Tina's Readers Program, and another program we have called the Peace Project are all currently funded by the Good Neighbors campaign. It's an excellent program, and we're grateful for the support that it's had. We're also strong partners with the Neighborhood Academic Initiative, which, as Eduardo mentioned, something that he attended as a middle school and high school student in a local school. I teach a course usually in the fall, not teaching it this semester, but where we have USC freshmen working with the high school seniors in that program to work on their college essays and college applications. We also support their Kinder to College program, supporting this semester some of the children with tutors and mentors. So JEP, as I mentioned, it is a project. We have partnerships on and off campus with so many different entities and individuals, and our students get to have a really interesting experience as undergraduates, and in some cases graduate students, to learn how higher ed works from a different point of view, and certainly to get off campus and learn about our local community. So if no one has anything else to add at this point, maybe we can turn to the Q&A from the parents and families that have been watching.
Yes, we have some great questions. So I'm going to start with the first one. How can my child get involved in JEP?
That's a great question. Our signups are at the beginning of the semester for our service learning program. We are always open and available the first 2 weeks of the semester. Normally, students come to the house, which is behind me here in this image, on the north side of campus, and they sign up in person. This semester, we had entirely online signups, and it's looking likely that we will again in the spring semester. So students can come to the house, find out which courses are linked to our program and what types of service learning assignments are available to them, and they can sign up either through a course that they're enrolled in, or they could sign up as a volunteer. And again, through the second Friday of the semester. I don't know, Tina and DJ, do you want to talk a little bit more about the hiring process for your programs?
Yeah, so for both Readers Plus and USC Yogis, we're on the same timeline as JEP, so we usually recruit first 2 weeks of the semester. However, we do have students who reach out to us earlier with interest, and we kind of keep a little waiting list. We are sure to reach out to them and remind them to come to the house and apply. But yeah, we're on the same first 2 weeks of the semester as recruitment and application time.
We try to hire the semester before, and then do our trainings before the semester gets started.
Yes, and there is a training component for all of the students who come on board, whether they're student employees or student volunteers. We have an annual retreat for all of our student workers where we typically go to Palm Springs or somewhere on the coast for a few days before the semester begins to train all of our student employees and get to know one another and really develop this sense of family that we have, I think, in the JEP organization. And then once students are enrolled, we train the incoming tutors and the JEP students to prepare them for their experiences in the community. But early in the semester, students should stop by the JEP house or visit our website, which is usc.edu/JEP, to find out more about the opportunities that are available.
Great. We have another question. Are USC students receiving the same benefits from virtual service learning that they would in normal semesters?
Well, that's a really important question, I think, and one that's maybe a little bit TBD. I think as Tina mentioned, we're just kind of getting up and running this semester. So it'll be a few weeks before we have the full sense of what these experiences are like. And I think, Tanaya, maybe it was you who said that, there's something definitely lost by not being able to be in person and get off campus and walk through the neighborhood, be on site at the school, learn really about those kinds of experiences that the kids we're serving have in the communities in which they live. But there's also something to be said about the flexibility and the facility, really, of being able to be online and connect with children, to serve parents and families directly, which is something we haven't really done so much in the past. I think that, this is a work in progress, and we've really worked quite hard to try to figure out how to make this beneficial both to our sites and responsive to the needs that they're telling us they have, as well as a beneficial experience for the undergraduate students who are participating, recognizing that it can't be quite the same. I don't know, Tina or DJ or any of our student leaders, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to just add, I think even though our tutors are, whether they're JEP or YSP TAs, I think the ones who are still working in person, I just know in every typical year when they're working with the children's, tutors will come to me and when we're having conversations at staff meeting, how it really is the highlight of their day to get away from the schoolwork, and working with students is really brings them a certain element of joy. And I think now in these times where there's so little joy, I think they still do receive that benefit. At the same time, there's, you know, a crisis more than ever for, you know, students being in need of support. So I think there's kind of this duality of, you know, this joy that they're getting, but also this real sense of, you know, they are really contributing to making a real difference during this pandemic.
Yeah, it's been interesting watching like how all the programs have pivoted to meet the needs of the community and be online. I know when this first started, some of the principals that I talked to said that connectivity was a huge issue for our participating students, not at the USC level, but at the like K-12 level. Like usually a sixth of the students either didn't have high quality enough Wi-Fi to be able to connect, or didn't have enough devices in the home for the students to be able to go into virtual sessions either. And I know that LAUSD has really push both Wi-Fi hotspots and devices so that a lot more of our students are now connected into both all of our programs, but also their online schooling. Because that was one of our biggest challenges when we first got all of this started, and when we pivoted for the tutoring program, was that a lot of our, like the students in our communities just weren't able to connect.
Great. We have time for one more question, and here it is. Have you had any positive developments or benefits associated with the shift to online learning?
Alyssa, I saw you nodding. Would you like to take that one?
I just would like to say that obviously, though there's been challenges, I think we've seen in the online semester like a huge wave of new people signing up to volunteer who maybe wouldn't in a typical semester, either because they have more free time now or because, you know, the travel element is taken away. But I think there's been a huge influx of people who just like recognize that we're in this like difficult situation and that things are especially more difficult for the K through 12 kids, and just wanting to help out in any way they can. Like, I think the pandemic overall has really brought out a lot of like, you know, philanthropic spirit in people. So, I mean, I know I personally manage more USC students volunteering than I have in any other semester. So I just think that's great that people have like been so willing to like rush to sign up to help in whatever way they can. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I would echo that. We've had a lot of alumni even reaching out who participated in JEP as undergrads, saying that they want to continue to support the local community and know how stressed some of our families and schools are and want to know what they can do to support. That does bring us to 9:45. If there are other questions, I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes, but I just wanted to thank all of our panelists today for taking the time to talk about their experiences with JEP. I want to thank all of you parents and families for tuning in to hear a little bit more about our programs. If you do have other questions, again, I'm happy to stick around for a few more minutes, but you're also welcome to visit our website, usc.edu/JEP, or you're welcome to email me as well. My email address is scharris@usc.edu. Thank you very much.